Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons and welcome to my void. It's totally convincing everyone, I'm sure. Yes indeed, I moved house recently and this house has a void, so I thought it would be nice to step in here to do my thinking because, hey, it's time for my annual Eurovision top countdown and I keep wanting to say top 41, but there were 2 casualties along the way this year, so this is just my top 39. So yes, over the next 4 weeks, I am going to be counting down my top 39 entries of this year's Eurovision Song Contest, and I'll be doing it in 10 song chunks, except for this first week, which will just be 9, because 39 doesn't really divide into 4, so this week, songs 39 down to 31, and then the week after, 30 to 21, then 20 to 11, and then 10 to 1. You've probably seen this format elsewhere on the internet, if not on this very channel. And then, the week after that, which will literally be the Monday of the Eurovision week, I will be posting the annual Mega Top 39, where I take all of your thoughts, all of your top 39s, combine them with mine, and see what our top is as a community. So, if you're not familiar with that concept, then please, in the comments below, submit your top 39 of Eurovision 2021 by the 14th of May, which is a Friday. That's the deadline I'm setting for this. Include your own country, express your own opinion, don't feel forced to have the auto-qualifiers in the top 26, and also, just for the sake of covering every base, don't include Belarus and don't include any hypothetical Armenian entries because they're not competing this year, so I am not counting them on the Mega Top 39. Also, look in the video description, you'll find that I made scorecards for the semi-finals! Wow, I'm irritating. So anyway, I shall count down the entries this year and we'll see how I feel. And by the way, kinda goes without saying, but this is just my opinion. It's just my opinion, okay? Calm down. I'm the one who needs to calm down. Right. Kicking things off on this first leg of the list in 39th place, it should come as no surprise, right, that I'm talking about Denmark, Fyr Flamme, Ursprungen, and apparently I've since been told that Fyr Flamme is also an expression, sort of similar to the English, like to be on tenterhooks, to be all like, oh, something's about to happen, I'm on Fyr Flamme, I want to see how it goes down, like that's the sort of excitement that they're on about. So compared to last year, because that's something I'm going to be doing in this countdown, technically this has moved down the list, but officially no movement, because Denmark was 39th for me last year, but that was 39 out of 41. This is 39 out of 39, so a move downwards, but not... My reasoning for putting it so low, in any case, is just... I don't feel that this song respects my time, and I know that other people have their own opinions about it, and that's completely fine. If you like this song, I fully support you in liking it. I just don't. I feel insulted by this song, I feel like it just exists to waste my time, and there has been a massive amount of discussion afterwards about what the intent actually was behind the song, and frankly, I'm so sick of having those discussions and having to defend my corner of it, and that's just turned me off even further, so just, I don't enjoy this song, I don't enjoy how it gleefully revels in obsolescence, in my opinion. It's just not my sort of thing. As I've said before, if I wanted a song that was from the 70s or 80s, I would listen to a song that's actually from the 70s or 80s, and if I wanted something that sounds like it but with modern nuances, I would listen to Dua Lipa or something else from the present day that accurately captures that era whilst still adhering to the sensibilities of modern music, rather than just repeating what we've heard 1,000 times organically, but in an inorganic way. That's my take on it, and no, I'm not going to elaborate any further because I am so sick of this discussion, but I will highlight my favourite lyric, as I intend to for every song this year, and in this instance, it's, poet, danser, like... It just means on the dance floor. Or on a dance floor, actually. It's not even particularly special. I just like that part of the song, the little sort of clap that I only have one hand free, but that's the part of the song that I dislike the least. It's an island of in a sea of So yeah, that's number 39. I don't have anything else to wrap up this thought with. In 38th place, we have Norway, TIX and Fallen Angel, which for Norway is a movement down from 17th place last year to 38th this year. Now the thing is, I don't dislike this song. I'm not a huge fan of it, but like, I don't dislike it as much as when I first heard it. When I first heard it, I didn't hate it. It's just, I recognise that this sort of song just isn't for me, and that's completely fine. It's just, I'm not the intended audience, I don't have a massively good time with it, but I do respect TIX as an artist, and, he won the national final fair and square. I have absolutely no issue with that whatsoever. He seems like a really great guy, he seems like a brilliant artist. It's just not my sort of music, and there's not really anything I can add to that. I did hear a friend of mine doing like a sort of an informal vocal cover. She was just singing the lyrics for fun, and she made it sound really pretty, so I feel like that there is something in this song that I could enjoy. It's just, in its current form, I'm not crazy about it. I did hear the Norwegian version, and that did resonate with me a bit more, because, I understand where TIX is coming from. I do feel his story. It's just, even the Norwegian version, like, it's in the music, clearly, rather than the lyrics, because having heard the Norwegian version, I like it more, but I'm still, like, it would still be 38th on my list. But as I said, the lyrics themselves are fine. Case in point, my favourite lyric is, trying to fly, but I'm not able. And yes, you could argue that that's an extremely contrived rhyme, and, I mean, I'm not inclined to disagree, but again, it's an aspect that I can relate to, because, and I'm sure I've mentioned this in my videos before, but kind of a recurring element in my dreams, yep, stick with me, I'm gonna make it be relevant, is, like, recognizing that I'm dreaming and being like, oh, right then, time to, like, fly and, like, deny the narrative of the dream. And then my brain is like, you fly, you can't fly. But I'm supposed to physically be able to in this void of dreams. Well, you can't. So that lyric really clicks with me because I have had it happen to me in real life. Technically, sort of, but also not at the same time. In 37th place, we have Georgia, Tornike Kipiani, and You, which is a massive drop from 14th all the way down to 37th, and I feel bad, because Tornike, lovely artist, lots of passion in a lot of what he does. In fact, a lot of passion in everything he does, because I went back and watched his performance from the 2017 national final, and it was a bit of a chaotic song, but again, there was passion in it, so no matter what he does, he puts his best into it. It's just that, again, it's just not my cup of tea. Like, my mother enjoys this song, and I see where she's coming from with that enjoyment. Like, I do see what's enjoyable about this song, it's just, it's not my flavour of enjoyment. I never like doing these lower ends of the scoreboard top videos, because I hate being negative and I don't really know what to say other than it's good, it's just not for me. But this is another instance of that. But at least it gives Tornike a great opportunity to show off what his voice can do, because as a talented artist, he deserves the world stage. It's just, this isn't the song that I personally would have given to him, but he chose it for himself, and fair play to him. My favourite lyric is, "You're in everything that I do." Because, as I said in my initial review, this song is all about agapic eros, or pragmatic philia, depending on your interpretation of the words. And when you're that deeply entrenched with that sort of sincere, wholesome love, you do start to see bits and pieces, of whoever it is that you're in love with in your daily life, whether it's like, I don't know, maybe they have a particular mannerism and then they say it on like a TV advert and you're like, oh, so-and-so says that and I'm in love with so-and-so. Like that. I like that that's being called up, and also that lyric is in the part of the song where it gets to show off Tornike's voice, so it's kind of a perfect sort of, like, it suits what the song is going for in terms of feel and taste and schmebulok, but it's also the part of the song that's the most impressive to listen to, even for someone like me who isn't necessarily a fan of it. You feel? You feel. Next up, in my least favourite numbered position in the universe, we have Spain in 36th place, Blas Canto, Voy a Quedarme, which is down by quite a ways from 29th place last year. Thing is, this is a really sweet song, and having heard the background behind it, why it was written, who it was written for, I appreciate it, and once again, we have a song that I appreciate, I'm just not head over heels in love with, and as I care to reiterate, that's a valid stance to take. I don't love this song, but I can listen to it and go, yeah, I appreciate this, I will happily defend this song from the haters. I'm not a hater myself, I'm just appreciate from a distance, and in my mind, it does seem like a bit of a step down from last year in that Universo, Blas's song last year, I feel like that was underrated brilliance because it showed off everything his voice could do whilst also being massively engaging. But this year, Voy a Quedarme is kind of only half the equation, because the other song in the selection, Memoria, that was like, that was half of Universo, and this is the other half, where one of the songs got, like, the energy and engagement factor, and the other got the emotion and the tenderness, and this is the latter. So, I know that Blas is capable of stuff that does appeal to me, it's just that this is not that, but I do recognise quality when I hear it. My favourite lyric is "Y aunque nuestro baile diera una pasa marcha atrás, no te preocupes," which means, even if our dance contains a step backwards, don't worry about it. I don't really have anything to say to unpack that, it's a really pretty lyric that's like, it's not contrived, it's not done to death, I've certainly never heard anything before, and it's a really nice sentiment. It's like, hey, you know, our relationship is a dance, dances naturally contain steps in all manner of directions, if ours happens to contain one that goes in a way that you're not a fan of, that's okay, it's all part of the dance. That's a really nice image, and I can get on board with that, so yeah, fair play to you, Spain. In 35th place, meanwhile, we have North Macedonia, Vasil, Here I Stand, down from 16th, almost 20 places to fall, yikes. To be fair, last year I did feel like I was underrating his song, and he sort of had a second win towards the end of the season, in my opinion. I don't feel that happening this year, but like, to be clear, I still really like Vasil as an artist, and he has an amazing voice on him. It's just, this particular song, something about how it's delivered, how it sounds, does kind of strike me as very improvisational, and that is more or less how the song was written, so I don't really know what point I'm making, but like, I think its improvisational nature is the main reason why it tends not to stick in my head. Like, I'm sure this could be further up my personal list, were it not for the fact that I really, really struggle to keep it in my head. Because Vasil's a great artist, and this is a really pretty song. I can just never remember how it goes, and I feel so bad because it's good when it's on, but when it's off, it's gone. Case in point, my favourite lyric. I wish to hug the child about to crack. The child in question being himself. Like, he's reflecting. He's like, hey, I want to go back in time and embrace my younger self and be like, hey buddy, it's gonna be rough, but you'll get through it. And I'm sure everyone at some point in their lives feels like, you know, they need that for themselves. But I didn't even know that lyric was there until I looked up the words, because, as I said, I find it so painfully easy to forget this song, and I know this song deserves better from me, and from most of the fandom, to be honest. Because Vasil's a great artist, it just, I don't think his result this year is going to reflect that, and that, you hate to see it. Now, in a slightly less dramatic move, we have 34th place, the Netherlands, the home entry, Django McCroy, Birth of a New Age, down by one single place from 33rd place last year. I appreciate this song, like, I do really like the way that it brings so much, like, Surinamese culture into a song that is very, very Django anyway, like, this gels very well with other music of his that I've heard, so, you know, it doesn't sound like, you know, Surinamese stuff for the sake of it. It does sound like a coherent blend of his culture, his background, and his personal style. You know, this is like his song last year, but with that cultural injection as well. And that's nice to see, it adds to the sincerity. I know some people aren't so much of a fan of it for various reasons. I'm sure there are some people who are out there going, why is it all about Suriname? Suriname's not even in Europe, and that is a fair counterpoint, I guess, but then again, complaining about it's not going to make it go away, so Netherlands singing about Suriname stuff, it's fine, you know, this is another instance of big appreciate, not so big enjoy, but like, I enjoy it more than some of the other songs that I've mentioned thus far. It's just, this isn't one that I'm going to keep coming back to, that's all. And my favourite lyric in there is, well, the Stranan Tongo part, "Yo no m'ambroko mi mina alfusensi," which is apparently a Stranan Tongo expression. It's an idiomatic thing. It literally means, you cannot break me, I am half a cent. And I find it clever because just the "Yo no m'ambroko mi" bit by itself just means you cannot break me, and that works as a chant to repeat throughout the song anyway, but then hearing the full expression adds to that because suddenly it's like, oh, the thing they were saying before is part of something bigger. Ah, that's clever. And to explain the expression as well, half a cent is the smallest denomination of currency in Suriname, so you know, you cannot break me down any smaller. I am already, you know, I cannot be broken because it doesn't get less than half a cent. If that's the general gist of it, and I like the way it was worked into the song because it's another layer of culture, because it's a thing that people say. So, big appreciate. As I said, not so big hype on my part, but I don't wish a bad score on him, or anyone, to be honest. And now we enter what might be the toughest part of the list. 33rd place, we have Slovenia, Ana Soklic, and Amen, however you want to say it. She's down from 18th place last year, and don't get me wrong, I am not celebrating when these songs move up or down in my rankings. I'm just spitting out facts as a comparison to my top from last year, and for some artists that's not even relevant anyway, so take with it as you will. The thing with this song is, when I hear it, I do really get on board with it. It's just, then I hear the other songs, and it begins to get buried further and further under other entries that I like more. But the important thing is, don't mind me just grabbing a hair that floated in front of my face. Very rude. But the thing is, I want to like this song more, and I do enjoy it, and I do appreciate it, but there are some bits in the lyrics here and there that I don't massively enjoy personally. Like, I like the overall message, I just don't like so much, just, like, I'm never a fan of the phrase, everybody knows, because if everybody knows it, why are you telling us again? It's like in films where they dump exposition on you by going, as you know. But that doesn't massively drag the song down for me, it's just, I like it, I like what Anna can do with her voice, it's just, I think I like it more than I do, and then I hear the other songs, and it accidentally just slips further and further down, and I feel like it does deserve more recognition than I'm giving it, but that is where I'm at, and that is sad. My favourite lyric, though, is greet the future with amen, or amen, say it however you will. It reminds me, and stick with me, we've got another tangent incoming, of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask for the Nintendo 64. I will spare you the extreme details, but there is a subplot in that game involving two people who wanted to get married, some stuff got in the way, and the world is about to end. And if you do everything just right, they get to have their wedding literally minutes before the world ends, and they look at you and they say, whatever happens, we will greet the morning together. Of course, if you then go and beat the game, they get to have their wedding ceremony under the rainbow that was made by the moon falling apart. But otherwise, you know, it shows their faith in each other, it shows that they've found peace even in the midst of absolute chaos, and this line reminds me of that. Wow, that was a rabbit hole! Anyway, in 32nd place for me this year, we have Austria, Vincent Bueno, amen. I did not deliberately put the amens next to each other, that's just how it came out. But yeah, probably one of the biggest movers from last year, in that this year 32nd, last year 7th. Like, that's unfortunate, but I guess it shows that I'm not biased. So yeah, Austria kind of faces the same issues as Slovenia does for me, in that I like it, and then I hear other songs that just kind of bury it. And to be fair, I think maybe part of it is the fact that it's, you know, it's downbeat, it's introspective, and so the child in my brain, I don't know why I keep a child in there, but that's just how I do, it doesn't keep my inner child's attention, and so if the rest of me disengages, then there's kind of nothing to latch onto to pull me back into it. So it is unfortunate. Vincent does deserve better from me, but this song doesn't really do it for me, but I appreciate it. It's got layers to it. It's, you know, there's many ways you can interpret the lyrics, and that's always a good sign in a song. Just, it's not one I'll find myself coming back to all that much, simply because there are other songs that distract my attention on the way here. My favourite lyric, though, is, I bet it's just another funeral to you, because it's part of the ongoing dialogue of the song. Well, I say dialogue, we only hear Vincent's side of it, and there's no implication of there even being a response to begin with, so I guess it's more of a monologue. But it shows where he's at emotionally at that point in the song. Bearing in mind that this lyric comes in fairly early. A lot of it is him assuming the feelings of his partner based on what's gone on. Well, I say partner. Assuming things based on the other person in whichever relationship is being sung about. And this kind of embodies that he's going through the stages of grief. There's a bit of, you know, there's anger, there's defensiveness. Oh, I bet you aren't feeling as bad about this as I am. And of course, we know that's just him hurting, and he does get over it by the end of the song. So, you know, I like that you could just take that line out of context and read so much into it from so little input. So, good. Yeah, well done. Just As I said, it's a song that I personally happen to be underrating this year, and that's just how it goes sometimes. And finally, last up for this leg of the journey, 31st place. Down 10 places from last year, we have Poland, Rafał Brzozowski and The Ride. Now, I have actually heard the original demo of this that was to be submitted to a certain country's national final, which was confirmed, and I feel slightly pleased with myself for successfully calling that. But I do think that Rafał's version is the superior version, so that's good at least. But on the whole, it does sort of tickle my ears in a very kind of just ticking boxes sort of way, because from everything I've heard, this is all the fault of the Polish broadcaster, because Rafał himself, great guy, lovely guy. He hosted Junior Eurovision, he did a great job, he's a lovely chap and a talented singer. It's just, this song, like, I'm just disappointed in TVP, but also the song in isolation, as I said, it just seems very artificial, very throwaway, it probably wouldn't have got all that far in the national final it was written for, and so it does smack of just being a hand-me-down, which is unfortunate because, as I said in the initial review, it does show signs of awareness of what's popular at the moment. It's just, I suppose, unfortunate that it doesn't have much of a USP beyond that. It's just, hey, we know what's popular, so here's a mimicry of that. Which is a shame. You know, there could be good here, but unfortunately this is all that Rafał has to work with, and he does his best, but there's only so much you can do with a song like this. My favourite line is, "It doesn't matter if I stumble and fall, I'll make it through, I'll never touch the ground." Because, amongst other things, it puts in my mind the mental image of, like, hypothetically, you know, if he's going on this hypothetical ride and he trips and falls, he doesn't land face down. He says, "I'll never touch the ground." So the idea of, I'll fall, but I'll turn that fall into fly. Like, you know, I will fall over, but I will not hit the ground. I will just be in the air instead. So the idea of finding the good even in unfortunate circumstances, which I suppose, come to think of it, is kind of an analogy for the song as a whole. He's, you know, being saddled with this song on such short notice is the stumbling, but him making it work is him not touching the ground, so he's in midair, but then he's gonna fly. So that's it. That's the first leg of my list. It's what would be the bottom 10, but there are only 9 songs in it because 39 entries in this year's contest. So to recap, that is Denmark, Norway, Georgia, Spain, North Macedonia, the Netherlands, Slovenia, Austria, and Poland. And I want to reiterate, this isn't me endorsing hating on these countries, this isn't me finding glee in not liking them as much, this entire list is just relative. You know, I appreciate these songs, but they're not for me. I will never take pride or pleasure in disliking a song, and I really don't understand people who do. And this fandom is full of people who do. But I'm not one of them, and honestly that's all I can do. Unless I can encourage you to also not be that way, in which case I'll do that too. So yeah, don't be toxic, basically. But I do encourage you, as ever, to put together your personal top 39, if you feel like sharing it, and leave it in the comments under this video by the 14th of May, and I will include it in the Mega Top 39 for this year. In the meantime, I don't know how to sign these videos off, because I only do them once a year, so I don't know what to say. I nearly fell over backwards into totally the void. So I will just wish the 9 artists I mentioned in this video the very best of luck, and if you can change my mind, if you can prove me wrong, if you can make me love your song at the contest proper, then more power to you. I'm fully open to it. So see you all in May, and I wish you the very best sincerely.